Right, we're on.
Sounds great.
Good evening, Ben. Welcome. I'm joined this evening by Ben Morrison, who is director and owner of We Are Events, an event company, aptly named, but also Smart Bar, which we're going to talk about in a minute. Ben is very much a friend of Normie and Company. We've known you for many years.
Long time.
Ben and I go back a long way, and I don't know if you know, but I don't know if you remember this, but this is years ago when we both used to work at 𝘼𝙧𝙣, when you were applying for the interview, and I coached you through that process. And I remember telling you that when you were asked the question in the interview, where you see yourself in 5 years' time, the correct answer to that question is sat in your chair.
I remember that phrase.
You remember that. So you got the job, it all went well, we worked together, and then years later you came for a job interview here at Normie and Company because you were looking to make a move.
Yeah.
And you sat in the chair.
I just wanted to follow you, basically.
Exactly. Hard to get rid of. You sat in the chair opposite me, and we asked you the question, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? And you said, in my chair. So that question came back to haunt me. But now you are in that chair. You're a business owner yourself. Yeah. You were an excellent estate agent and a real asset to our company at the time. It was a real pleasure to work with you. But you've gone on to start and found your own events company, something that you've had a passion for. So tell us about what it is about events that sort of draws you.
So I think when I first started at 𝘼𝙧𝙣, I'd just left an event management company that I'd been working at for about 4 years. Wanted to really gain a bit of confidence. I don't know if you recall, but when I first started at 𝘼𝙧𝙣, I wouldn't go on the phone. I was scared to speak. And now it's quite the opposite. It's now trying to shut me up.
Like a deer in the headlights.
And I've got to say, the best thing I ever did was make that, I suppose, change in my life at that point, because even though events was always a passion of mine and I knew that's where I wanted to be, I think that on the phone and going to meet people gave me that extra confidence. And I suppose the kick between my legs to say, you know what, grow a pair, let's get on with this. You're going into the wide world of working now, and it massively helped.
I think estate agency is one of those professions that it's not for people that are shy.
No.
You deal with, it's a real people business, and I suppose, and it's one of those things where the customer's always right. And I guess that's exactly the same when you're dealing with people's big events on the
100%.
Their big day. I mean, nobody wants to deal with bridezilla on the day of that wedding, but that's
very diplomatic.
So I guess you get to see it all. You get to deal with the brides, the mother-in-laws, the mothers.
Yeah,
it's bad
One
enough.
day I'm going to write a book. I've said, like, literally with some of the stories that happen, because you just literally couldn't write them. But it's all good fun.
But talking of things that you can't write and you can't really legislate for, this year, particularly more than any other probably in history, has hit every industry globally. But when we talk about COVID-19 and the effects of that on one particular industry, and if you look at the events industry, it brought it to, grinding to a halt.
Yeah.
So just take us through. I mean, there's plenty of business owners that will be watching this, who have been through similar processes over the past few months. Take us through those early days as it hit you.
So just to kind of recap slightly, in 2011, I kind of really majorly launched the business, and it took me, I'd probably say, about 5 years to get it into a place where people were starting to hear about it, where I'd invested money and really grew the business to a point where people were starting to know who We Are Events are. I then took staff on, more and more staff. And in 2017-18, we grew by 240%, which was an unknown growth. You just couldn't wish for anything better. I wouldn't say we're certainly the leader in events, but we were doing exceptionally well. The company was making money. I was very fortunate. I got to do what I love, and I also could call it a job. And in March, as this was building up, we moved offices into bigger premises with meeting space, made it all amazingly beautiful and luxury, and painted walls, and you name it, we did it.
Photos on the wall.
And literally, we've never done a full day's work there. The staff have never been in to do a full day's work. We went into lockdown, and no joke, it was as if someone has unplugged the phone, and like that was it. And as much as I joke, I keep checking that the phone keeps working. But literally, it was if like the world just stopped.
So all of those big events, so weddings, bar mitzvahs, christenings, you name it, they all got cancelled en masse, didn't they? Because
we moved everything within a month. Everything was moved to 2021, and we haven't done an official event since April, May. And yes, all the staff went on furlough, and it was a massive saving grace. I've sat here and kind of steered the ship as best I could, but there came a point where you had to think, is the world of events ever going to come back? Because as you were thinking, oh, you know, we've done the lockdown, things are starting to lift again, weddings back to 30, maybe we could do little bits. We even, amongst other things, have set different projects, and we're working with like hotel football to do a whole mental health campaign about getting the world of events back together and uniting. We can't even do that because that's now been pulled. And it's that
I saw there was an initiative. So there was an initiative, actually. It was quite kind of nice to see you working together with some of your competitors, actually. You all came together to form one group, united group, to sort of try and work out a way of steering that event ship through this whole mess and trying to get to the other side. But again, you're at the whim and mercy of government legislation and changes, as we saw already as early as sort of yesterday. Further changes made, taking weddings down from 30 to 15, which is a real challenge. And you know, a lot of people will take the view that they don't want to get married with just 15, and that they're going to postpone that event until such a time that we can all get together in larger groups. And talking about COVID, so obviously you have a very personal story with COVID as well.
Yeah.
At the beginning of lockdown and almost the peak of it, as I remember, you and I spoke briefly. Your dad had contracted COVID, and unfortunately you lost your father earlier this year.
Yeah.
Talk us through that. It must have been.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's two kind of people. There's ones who very much are solemn and down, or you've got kind of the complete opposite. I can't say I've always been the most positive of outlook kind of personalities. However, it's really done something to me. You know, at the time Dad went poorly, I was the only one in the family that actually was well. I had my mother ill with COVID. I had my brother-in-law in hospital on the next door ward with it. I had my sister with it. And as much as I joke, I was like the modern equivalent to Florence Nightingale. I was like running around delivering these packages to everyone's houses. And it was a bit surreal, and it kept me busy. And I think that was the key for me. Keep my mind busy. Let's keep doing things. I was doing podcasts, and I was just trying to think of things to keep me going. I was really lucky. I got to go in and see my dad before he passed. And I joked with my mum. I said he was doting this amazing grey beard that was neatly kind of manicured and beautifully put. And, you know, as much as I sit here, and yes, there are times I have a tear in my eye, and, You know, there are times that not many people know, but every morning when I used to do school drop off, I'd get in my car. The first thing I do is ring my dad. And that's when we have our catch up. And it hit me the first time I did school drop off. You automatically do it. You go to dial, dad mob.
Not
yeah,
there.
this number cannot be. And you're like, oh yeah. So for me, it was a bit of a wake up call. You know, no one's ever going to replace the fact that my dad unfortunately isn't here. However, what it did was made me realize, yes, I spent many hours drinking plenty of gin and tonics and sometimes without the tonic, but I then realized, actually, I need to do something. I need to express this positivity and allow, I suppose, my dad to see that I'm getting on with my life. I'm not going to just sit back and let things get me down. I've got a family to provide for. I've got a wife. I've got staff in a business. And that's what I did. I shook myself off and I said, you know what, COVID, you are going to be here, but I need to adapt with you.
You know what? I admire your resilience and your ingenuity as well, and your positive outlook. It's inspirational, because a lot of people go through the same stresses and strain, not just of losing a relative, but you ended up being everybody's kind of primary carer at the same time, and you're holding the whole family together going through this whole thing. So an immense strength of character, Ben. But what's amazing out of this story is what happens next. So to me, and I commented on this last week on social media. I said I was proud, but genuinely I am, because you came up with this concept for Smart Bar. Just so for people that don't know what Smart Bar is, take us through it.
I mean, I think I was dropped on the head initially, but the idea.
I've got to say, when we saw it, I thought you were crazy. I thought there's no chance that he's going to put a bar into a smart car and drive it around. But look at you today.
I know. I mean, I'll jump onto about that smart car, because that, I think, is an internal joke between me and you anyway. But I think, you know, when it was about 4 or 5 years ago, I saw on the motorway there was a converted horse box that had been made into a Prosecco van. And since then, it's kind of been playing on my mind. I've always loved coffee. I have a stupid love for it, that and coffee machines. And I always wanted to open like a coffee shop or something kind of exciting. And I'd already played with different things. And I don't know how it came about, other than the fact that I said to my wife, I was like, you know what? I want to launch like a coffee shop on wheels. And this was a Saturday night. And on Sunday morning, after me probably emailing 20, 25 different people who were trying to sell secondhand smart cars, I said to her, oh, I've had a message. We're off to Chester in the morning. Go drop the kids at my mum's. We're going to go and pick up a smart car. I've got a deal on one. And that's what we did. Sunday morning, we rocked up in Chester at this guy's house. I drove the smart car back. Probably took me a few weeks to get back in that thing on the motorway. And that was the start of it. That once I'd bought the car, I was committed. Like there was no going back.
No going back. So explain, because not everybody does know what Smart Bar is. I hope everybody gets to learn what Smart Bar is, and anybody watching today will find out. And I'm going to put a few images and clips of you in action. But just explain what it is.
So Smart Bar is a mobile coffee hot drink bar that is a converted smart car, and we basically bring the drinks to you. So during the week, we travel to different businesses that request for us to come to the business. We'll turn up. It's all self-powered. We have a coffee machine in the back. We make amazing coffees with different syrups. We have teas. So we have mint, normal, green tea. We have little cakes and different treats each week. And the idea is that we want people to still have that luxury. We want to deliver this to people that maybe can't go out to coffee shops because they don't want to, or they feel a bit worried about going into public places. And the bonus is that at the weekend, we do the public areas. So we've been parked up around North Manchester. And I'm very humbled. I never in a million years thought it would be received the way it has been. But we also know that one car is not the dream. It's not going to service everyone. And I won't call this certainly an exclusive, but certainly most people will find out sooner rather than later that we will be getting more cars. And before the end of this year, you will see a lot more smart bars on the road.
So we can expect to see a whole fleet of smart bars around North Manchester. It's a fantastic idea, and it really is. It shows sort of creativity and ingenuity, because your business ground to a halt through no fault of your own, and you've pivoted. You've completely taken everything you know about events and serving the public and channeled it into a very niche market, which is in its own right has also, the hospitality industry has experienced a lot of trouble, again with the changes in the laws as recently as yesterday, curtailed opening hours. Everything is becoming a lot harder, but there are some wonderful things happening out of COVID. People are being forced, when their backs are against the wall, they're forced to find really creative ways to carry on. I mean, as you say, you've got responsibilities to your family, to your kids, to your wife, but to your staff as well. And this is a great way of making money, and also bringing the public a COVID safe service. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So the future obviously is more smart bars on the road. You make a mean hot chocolate. The Normie and Co team witnessed that firsthand last week.
Yeah, it's. I suppose the exciting thing is that I think people have an expectation that it's just going to be like hot drinks, and what we've realised is that there's a greater demand out there, and I think that if we approach another lockdown, that the service we provide can only be better. And we're actually going to play on the 6 times a day that people want food, being breakfast, brunch, lunch, afternoon tea, dinner, and late night snacks. So that is what will be created. One thing's for sure, it might not be in a smart bar or smart car, should I say. Maybe going something slightly bigger. But yeah, it's exciting.
It's fantastic, fantastic. And it's just so nice to hear that you found this very creative outlet, but it's also productive and it's going so well. And the feedback that you've got from members of the public is so good. In your other life, you wear a charity hat as well, don't you? So you've always done a lot of work for one particular charity, Destination Florida, I think it is, if I'm not mistaken. So Destination Florida is an organization that has been organizing trips to, you guessed it, Florida, for kids, young adults with very severe disabilities, learning difficulties, etc. And it's staffed by volunteers, and you make their dream holiday come true. Every year. I know it's a lot of work and a lot of effort to get it arranged, but I've seen the photos and the videos and some of the testimonials that you've got and the difference that you've made to those people's lives. And it's in any time, that is an amazing thing to be doing. But charities have been hard hit as well at this time. So I'm presuming that has also ended those plans.
Yeah, we, for 34, 35 years, have been going to Florida. I've not been doing all of them, but I've certainly done a good handful of them. This being, we were due to be there in November this year. I went out there in January this year to go and have meetings in Florida, and never would have thought I would have been sat here now talking about how I've had to make the biggest decision and cancel a trip to Florida. You know, we take the poorest of poorly children, We take the kids that no one else takes. And as long as I'm the first to say I can get insurance for these kids, we'll take them. And we take approximately 74 kids. We take 110 adults who are all fully qualified. We take doctors, nurses, physios, you name it, we take it. And we're like a mobile hospital, and we just can't warrant, especially if you look at the people who are out and about just in the UK and the ones who are shielding. If you imagine the kids we take, they're not only shielding, but they're like doubly shielding.
Yeah.
And we can't take that risk. We toyed with taking them to Paris this year or even next year, and even Paris won't do group bookings. So we know that the next trip won't be till 2022 at least, which is really sad. You know, we've played with, do we put this charity on a shelf and come back to it soon, or do we just keep drip feeding it? Do we keep people current and still keep raising money? And that's what we're hoping to do.
But that's a real challenge at any time. Fundraising for charities is something that it's a very difficult task.
Yeah.
In the best of times, but during COVID, when people have got their own finances to worry about, their own businesses, their own jobs, furlough, everybody's income is hard hit. Charities have been the first to, unfortunately, the first to feel it. So yeah. I think fundraising has been very difficult to justify at this time.
Yeah, unfortunately, it goes hand in hand with my other job, which is events. Like, we do 3 major events a year for the charity. All have been postponed. We have some big donors. We have, you know, big businesses that sponsor our trips. They've obviously had to cut back. So we are very much aware that the money we're receiving is like a bonus at the moment. It's money that maybe we wouldn't have received before. And we've basically said this year of 2020, let's just wipe it off. If we make money, great. That can go towards our 2022 trip. But let's focus on 2021, and hopefully things start to pick up, and that can be our year of fundraising and really to get to our target for our next trip. Okay,
so the all-important plug. How do people get hold of you if they want to get Smart Bar rounded there? So you're looking, I mean, we spoke the other day, people at business parks, local businesses, anywhere basically that you can park up, they can call you as long as you've got a bit of advance notice. They can even call you on the day whilst you're out and about.
By all means. We've had that earlier today. We took 2 bookings for this afternoon, and we just went out because we had the availability.
Fantastic. So how do they call you?
So they can either contact us on the phone via WhatsApp, text, phone number 07835 994 573. They could drop us an email to info@wearesmartbar.co.uk. They can visit the website of smartbar.co.uk or do it via social media, which is ironically also Smartbar. So yeah, they contact us in any way. Unfortunately for most, we're quite prominent on social media. So you're not going to be able to escape.
There's no escaping the mighty Smart Bar. But that's what social media is there for.
Definitely.
So we are going to be sharing this across our networks as well, and encourage any local businesses that want to treat their staff and give them a bit of a midweek treat anytime. Ben is the man for that. Ben, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me
with us. It has been truly inspirational, and I am welling with pride, man. You know, it's good to speak to somebody that we know and have kind of seen you grown from here to here. We hope you
never grown. Maybe my business has, but I personally haven't.
Hope you go on from strength to strength. Just in terms of the charity, to give that a plug, if anybody wants to get involved or to donate, where are they going to?
Destination Florida Children's Charity. You can either find us on social media outputs, which is literally the charity name, or go via the website, which is destinationflorida.org.uk. And on there, it tells you all about the charity, how you can donate, get involved. We are still doing a few virtual events that are going to be on there, so you can always come along and watch them with us.
Awesome. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
Let us know what you know, when the next big thing comes through. Let us know what the future's like, and we'll have you on again.
Definitely. No problem.
Thanks, Ben.
Have a good evening. Thank you so much.